Analiz, inceleme.
Analysis. I need more time to finish the analysis today.
Analizi bugün bitirmek için daha fazla zamana ihtiyacım var.
Our teacher gave a clear analysis of the story.
Öğretmenimiz hikaye hakkında net bir analiz sundu.
She wrote a short analysis for her class project.
Ders projesi için kısa bir analiz yazdı.
Good crime scene work, good lab work, and most importantly, good data-based analysis.
From your analysis of the knife wounds, Dr. Weil, do you have an opinion whether the killer was left-handed or right-handed?
Well, Evelyn did a cost-benefit analysis comparing all your last 5 years of crime fighting before going underground.
In the last analysis, the senator was perched on the television high dive and all prepared to make a resounding splash.
Everybody kept tripping over and, well, anyway, if you need a handwriting sample for analysis.
It might help my analysis if I knew what Genesis was, beyond the biblical reference.
Kampanya, harekat.
Campaign. The team started a new campaign to help local schools.
Ekip, yerel okullara yardım etmek için yeni bir kampanya başlattı.
She joined the campaign to raise money for animals.
Hayvanlar için para toplama kampanyasına katıldı.
Our community plans a campaign to clean the park.
Topluluğumuz parkı temizlemek için bir kampanya başlatmayı planlıyor.
Interfering with an ongoing Justice Department investigation and violating federal election laws in the area of campaign finance.
Will was in charge of Lane Billings' first senatorial campaign.
In the past few weeks of the campaign, my opponent has thrown around a lot of fancy words to try to confuse the issues.
By the time March comes around, we have no intelligence products whatsoever that tie the Trump campaign to Russia.
By the power vested in me by the local mayor, who you generously supported in his re-election campaign.
Now, Age UK are trying to change that by raising funds for their new campaign called Spread the Warmth.
Hayal kırıklığına uğratan.
Disappointing. The movie was disappointing because the ending felt very rushed.
Film, finalinin çok aceleye getirilmiş gibi hissettirmesi yüzünden hayal kırıklığına uğratan bir yapımdı.
It was disappointing that the concert started much later than planned.
Konserin planlanandan çok daha geç başlaması hayal kırıklığına uğratan bir durumdu.
Her exam score was disappointing, but she will try harder.
Sınav notu hayal kırıklığına uğratan bir sonuç oldu, ama daha çok çalışacak.
Look, I understand how disappointing this must be to hear, but this time of year is always the busiest.
This must have been very disappointing to the 16-year-old adventuress that you were at the time.
And that Gretchen is so paralyzed with the fear of disappointing you that you don't actually know her at all.
At home, the Minister for Culture, Media and Sport described as deeply disappointing the sale to a private Russian buyer yesterday.
I know how disappointing the last hearing was, but that's not where this is going to end.
I really, really want to do both, and I'm trying so hard, but sometimes I end up disappointing everybody.
Elektronik, dijital.
Electronic. I bought an electronic alarm clock for my bedside table.
Başucuma koymak için elektronik bir çalar saat aldım.
The teacher told us to use an electronic dictionary today.
Öğretmen bugün elektronik sözlük kullanmamızı söyledi.
My brother fixed the electronic toy that stopped working yesterday.
Kardeşim dün bozulup çalışmayan elektronik oyuncağı tamir etti.
Behold the wonderment of a multicolored tinkling display of mechanized electronic joy.
For those of you unfamiliar with EVPs, EVP stands for Electronic Voice Phenomenon.
No personal laptops, no USB sticks, no cell phones, no electronic devices of any kind.
And they call these bozos who conveniently show up to deal with the problem with a fake electronic light show.
Maybe there's something we don't know yet, like electronic fields or magnetic force fields or something.
Now, these little cards create electronic impulses which are accepted and retained by the machine. So,
modaya uygun, şık.
Fashionable. Many young people think that wearing jeans is fashionable today.
Birçok genç bugün kot giymenin modaya uygun olduğunu düşünüyor.
She bought a fashionable coat for the cold winter trip.
Soğuk kış gezisi için modaya uygun bir palto aldı.
The new shoes are fashionable and comfortable for long walks.
Yeni ayakkabılar hem modaya uygun hem de uzun yürüyüşler için rahat.
They're here in America to promote the latest adventures of the most fashionable bear in the world.
Well, without further ado, I'd like to present you all with an accurate portrayal of the proprietor of Fashionable Mail.
Struck our city only a short while ago, right out in the fashionable suburb of Sherwood Ravine.
Following the ceremony, the party adjourned to a rather fashionable greasy spoon, where perfectly delicious dog burgers were served.
Upton Sinclair was one of these left-wing fashionable friends.
As Vince had pointed out at our first meeting, it had become fashionable to put yourself into the story.
Lena walked into a new fashionable CAF in her neighborhood after work. It was full of plants, soft lights, and people taking photos of their drinks. The menu was completely electronic, shown on tablets at every table. A message on the screen invited customers to join a social media campaign and share pictures with a special hashtag. If they joined the campaign, they could win a free dessert. Lena ordered a latte and a chocolate cake using the electronic menu. The latte looked beautiful, but the first sip was weak and the milk was not hot enough. The cake was dry and very sweet, and she felt a bit disappointing moment in her busy day. She opened her laptop and started a quick analysis of her experience for an online review. In her analysis, she wrote that the place was fashionable and friendly, but the food and drinks needed more care. She also wrote that the electronic menu was easy to use and clear. Lena decided not to join the Happy Photo campaign, because her feeling was still disappointing. Instead, she posted her honest review and hoped the CAF would read her analysis and improve. As she left, she thought that sometimes a place can look very fashionable online, but real life tells a different story.
Toplamak, bir araya gelmek, anlamak.
Gather. Please gather your books from the table before leaving.
Lütfen ayrılmadan önce kitaplarınızı masadan toplayın.
People will gather at the park for the music festival.
İnsanlar müzik festivali için parkta toplanacak.
I gather from her smile that she is happy today.
Gülümsemesinden anladığım kadarıyla bugün mutlu.
I've never done it myself, but from what I gather, it's the greatest satisfaction a working man can have.
See, we would gather at the old Indian cave, take turns reading from Thoreau, Whitman, Shelley.
I gather the journalists that were so positive about you weren't so kind to me.
I could quietly gather up some bags of groceries and hide them up at one of the check stands by the door.
Well, although I gather you've had some experience doing that, given your concealed weapon charge.
You gather information from people's phones and computers, and you feed that to your clients.
Yes.
İçişleri Bakanlığı.
Interior. The interior of the house feels warm and very welcoming.
Evin içi sıcacık ve çok davetkar.
She studied interior design to change old rooms at home.
Evdeki eski odaları yenilemek için iç mimarlık okudu.
The Interior Minister spoke about new safety rules today.
İçişleri Bakanı bugün yeni güvenlik kurallarından bahsetti.
Based on the lateral slash on the interior portion of the fingerprint, the distinctive center whorl.
The officers found what appeared to be blood on the interior of the car, upon which our department was notified.
The interior has been staged to sell, but the landscaping isn't done yet, so we're going to have to push the potential.
Call it the bivalve interior combustion, twice exhausted, biaxial nitrocycle.
Within these 2 weeks that you mentioned, you must be prepared to see the enemy break through our lines and push out into the interior of France.
The interior of each brick is filled with hundreds of symbols folded into each other.
Karar, yargı, hüküm.
Judgment. Her calm judgment helped the team finish the project.
Onun sakin kararları, ekibin projeyi bitirmesine yardımcı oldu.
The judge made a quick judgment after hearing the facts.
Hakim, olayları dinledikten sonra hızlıca karar verdi.
I trust your judgment when we choose a new teacher.
Yeni bir öğretmen seçerken kararına güveniyorum.
Let a bunch of bums like you sit in judgment over the best sled dog that ever came to this godforsaken place?
Instead of spending firm money to fly to another country to question my judgment, feel free to call first.
At the tribunal, all the witnesses have been heard, and we can finally start to work on our judgment.
When a body is burnt, it cannot be resurrected until Judgment Day.
I have a duty of care, and it's my judgment that this may not be the best thing for your recovery.
I don't know what clouds your judgment worse. Your guilt or your antiquated sense of morality.
Research shows the main reason women and girls don't take part in sport is fear of judgment.
Yalnız, ıssız.
Lonely. She felt lonely after her friends moved to another city.
Arkadaşları başka bir şehre taşındıktan sonra kendini yalnız hissetti.
The old house looked lonely at the end of the street.
Sokağın sonunda eski ev yalnız duruyordu.
He spent a lonely evening reading a book by candlelight.
Mum ışığında kitap okuyarak yalnız bir akşam geçirdi.
It's about a man wanted by the police, who comes to a house, a lonely house on a Yorkshire moor.
He grew up to be a very lonely, unhappy, self-centered little man.
Yeah, I mean, who'd have thought, hey? You and I would have ended up drifting like two lonely boats on the sea of life.
In the moderate price range, you can't expect anything too beautiful, but a lonely guy should watch out for the depressing ones.
Lou does nothing but talk about you and the old days and Jerry and, you know, I think he's lonely.
So basically you texted me when you were feeling hungover and lonely in that moment, but you're not actually into me, but you went on the date anyway.
Gerçek, hakikat, doğruluk.
Truth. She finally told me the truth about her plans.
Sonunda bana planları hakkında gerçeği söyledi.
It is difficult to accept the truth sometimes in life.
Hayatta bazen gerçeği kabullenmek zor olur.
We must search for the truth in every story.
Her hikayede gerçeği aramalıyız.
Look, I'm sorry. I know that's harsh, but the truth that no one's telling you is that if you're not back by then you're done anyway.
And now, tell your partner the truth, a beautiful truth.
I just think the best gift you can give anyone on their wedding day is...
Paul doesn't like to brag, but the truth of the matter is he built his first development himself.
The truth is, I'm a little disappointed that you don't trust me.
No, Kelly,
But if you want the truth, I always thought if you ever had kids that they would go to Camp Brooke.
If you did not, then it would be impossible for me to convince you of the truth.
Destiny, did the truth shake you down to the soles of your trainers?
Every Sunday evening, Layla went to a small cafe after work. She liked to sit alone by the window and watch people gather outside in the square. Sometimes she felt very lonely, even when the street was full of noise and light. One rainy night, she noticed a large mirror on the interior wall of the cafe. In the mirror, she saw herself sitting with her shoulders low and her eyes tired. She suddenly heard a calm voice behind her say, "You look like you are waiting for something important." An older woman, the owner of the cafe, sat down and smiled without judgment. Layla was surprised, but she started to talk about her job, her small apartment, and her fear of making mistakes. Words began to gather between them like warm lights, simple stories, small secrets, quiet dreams. The cafe no longer felt cold, its interior seemed soft and safe, like a different world from the dark street. At one moment, the woman asked, "Layla, what is the truth you are hiding from yourself?" Layla looked at the mirror again and saw not a lonely woman, but someone who was afraid to change her life. "The truth is, I want to start my own design studio," she said quietly, as if the mirror needed to hear it too. The cafe owner nodded and said, "Then begin with one small step, and let time make its own judgment."
Did you like this video? Make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and turn on the bell so you never miss what's next.